Blue Table fans, I'm here to do a little bit of a business ramble and also a history of Blue Table painting. How did I get started? People ask me that a lot. And I was a public school teacher in the San Francisco Bay Area of California. And I had a 1-hour commute, so I had to get up around 4:30 in the morning to beat the traffic. I would arrive around 5:45. I'd sleep in my car for about an hour until the janitor showed up, and then he would let me in, and then I would prep, and so that nonsense went on for a couple of years. This is right around the year 2000, by the way, and so. Boy, it was really quite a godsend when the school finally gave me a code, so I didn't have to wait in my car that whole time. I just opened up the school and got cracking. And then eventually, a couple of years in, I rented a room in the neighborhood. And so Monday through Friday, I was staying near the school, which is about 35 miles away, and in San Francisco Bay Area traffic, that's about an hour, and possibly, some days it was like 2 hours just to get home, and it was not good for my back, by the way. And so anyway, and then that was awesome, but one day I came home and my 2-year-old son recoiled from me as if I were a stranger, and I was like, man, this has got to end. I don't know how, but I've got to get this sorted out. And so that summer, there were some pay decreases, and I was like, well, nothing for it. Better get a job over the summer to supplement the income. And in the meantime, I was going down every week to my local shop, and I was putting out not my wares, but I'd just be like, hey, look what I painted. Hey, look what I painted. And I was always excited to make an army. And so a friend of mine said, hey, why don't you paint my dwarf army, and I'll pay you, whatever it is that you ask. And I had to think about it, so I came up with some pricing, and so I painted his dwarf army. Basically, it was I just worked part-time for like a week and a half, 2 weeks, maybe a little bit more than that. And so I deliver him his dwarf army in the parking lot of our local game shop. And so he peels off these $100 bills. He peels off 8 $100 bills. And I was like, what up? I was like, oh my gosh. I did what I would do on vacation, part-time, and here's money. And from then on, I was like, okay, how am I going to make this work? How is this going to happen? And so it was, and that's where it took off from, and I felt like $1 million coming home that day to my wife and just be like, bam! Throg, bring meat for tribe! And just a great feeling of success and accomplishment. And it was a risk because, what if I quit my job and the commissions don't come in? And, how can I keep that going? And so that became my world. I worked in my garage as a soloist, and then of course I added more people. My thing is systems. I'm an absolute beast when it comes to figuring out numbers and processes and stuff like that. And that of course has grown into what you see for Blue Table painting today, which has, I do believe it's like 22 people, and at every evolution, every time you add like 4 people, it changes the game a little bit. An example that I like to give, which you may have heard, is if you have a recipe for strawberry shortcake. I read this in a book. And it serves 8. Well, what if you only have 4 people over? You have the recipe. What if you have 16 people over? You double the recipe. Well, what if you're going to have 2,000 people over? Well, it breaks the mechanic. The mechanics of the smaller stage don't work for the larger stages. And so recently I thought, what is the best thing that I could do for my own life, my own family, and also for my fellow man? That's you. I'm looking for that. This is going to the business mentoring program. So that's the best thing I could do for another human would be to teach them Not necessarily even for this particular industry, although I'm an expert in that, but to teach someone how to break out of regular thinking. So I am available for hire. I am available to serve you in the best and most profound way that I can think of. This isn't just some kind of, half-hearted, well, here you go, here's the things. No. I'm going to take you under my wing as my protege, depending on the type of program that you choose, and really work with you. And not just that, but inspire you too. So this is like the difference between buying some books on health and some exercise machines and doing that same thing, but also getting a personal trainer. Someone to come out to keep you on track, to motivate you, to help you for whatever the duration of the term is. And this is limited time, this is limited quantity, and I'm using this channel. Typically 2,000 people will see a video. Even the ones that are off the beaten track get 1,000. I'm trying to narrow it down to just 10 or less for this year. And let me tell you how the numbers work as of this taping. These will probably go up later on. So let's move on into the whiteboard. And you know what? In fact, I'm going to make a separate video. And so look in the liner notes for a link to an unlisted video, and that will explain how the program works at this time. Thank you for tuning in and hearing part of my fantastic story.